Golden era of Hollywood, these two, some might suggest, dragons truly ruled the roost. And not only that, the studio bosses like Jack Warner, Louis B. Mayer, Harry Cohen of Columbia, etc., really enjoyed the fact that they were very powerful. It's hard to imagine in this social media world just how powerful Hedda Hopper and Luella Parsons were. But they were, and as I often say here on the show, lucky enough to interview some marvellous old timers from the era of Hollywood who, when you reel their interviews back, you find out so many forgotten gems of stories. You see, for me, I loved Hedda Hopper and Luella Parsons. It was part of my fascination with the world of entertainment and show business, and how did one become an entertainment journalist, gossip columnist, whatever you want to call it. For many people, of course, they remember greats like Walter Winchell, Dorothy Kilgallen. Very strange ending there. Yes, look, that's... Oh, yes, indeed. Wonderful book out about her too. But the bottom line, really, when you think about it, was they had a wonderful life. They went around, attended all the best parties, lived the life of a movie star without all of the pressures. But Luella Parsons and Hedda Hopper were two out a league of their own. Hedda was a failed actress, and Luella really just, clawed away in, shall we say. But they terrified most of the major stars of the era. Now, according to Mickey Rooney, he said that, you really had to tell them literally everything about your life, because if you didn't, they would turn you over and plant stories, basically making you seem ill-advised or, not so friendly to your wife, or drinking, that sort of stuff. They had the power. So whatever was happening in your life, you had to tell them. Mickey told me that Marilyn Monroe was very clever because she told one of them about her engagement to Joe DiMaggio and the other about the engagement ring, placating them both, you see. So both had an exclusive and both had a story. There was only one woman, in fact, that Hedda and Luella were absolutely terrified of themselves, and that was none other than the international sex bomb, Mae West. Mae was rich enough and strong enough to take these two broads on, as she pointed out. What was fascinating with Mae is at an early stage, she'd bought up a lot of Hollywood land, and so she was, by default, actually the owner of some of the studio land that they stood on. You get the picture. Nobody messed with Mae West, including Luella and Hedda. But what I did find out about this was fascinating, because they all had syndicated, radio shows, TV shows, and columns, which pre-social media were read by millions of people. They were that powerful. Just one mention in their column could get people to look up. And if you're a budding star of that era, whether it be somebody like, Mamie Van Doren, Cherie North, Jane Mansfield, all those rivals to the bigger stars of that moment, you really wanted that mention. But did you know that, the way they held you to account was simply this? When you appeared on Hedda or Luella's TV show, there was no fee. Now, the bottom line was, if it was a TV show and you had to look glamorous, you borrowed the outfits from the studio. But again, no fee. When certain individuals kicked back and said they wouldn't go on, then they were simply trashed in column, in print, or on screen. But Errol Flynn really got the better of Hedda and Luella. Both found him absolutely devastatingly attractive. And it didn't really matter what they did, even though he had a bad boy reputation of that particular era. Whenever he met them, he would sweep them up off their feet, plant a kiss directly on their lips, and say to the world's media all looking on that they were his favourite girls. And if he was still single and they were single, he was definitely going to marry them one day. They were like giggling schoolgirls around Errol Flynn. He never had a problem. But you understand exactly now how Hollywood worked in that particular era. They were so powerful, they wouldn't pay for you to appear. You almost had to say it was an honor to pop up on their TV show, and you did, or radio show. And you see, the studios wouldn't back you up, because if they wanted to get rid of you, according to Mickey, they would tip off Hedda and Luella and say your contract or your 7-year deal was coming to an end and they were undecided, making sure, of course, that sent a shudder throughout the rest of the studio system, throughout the rest of Hollywood. Now, truly, can you think of anybody who's that powerful working in Hollywood, or indeed the entertainment industry today? These two ladies certainly ruled the might of Hollywood in the golden era, and of course, at the end of the golden era, they too were shown the scrap heap. Hedda's TV show didn't get commissioned, And of course, Llewellyn Parsons, same thing happened to her. How did they take it? Not very well. Books ensued, but by that point, there was a brand new generation. Some might suggest the generation of the Valley of the Dolls. Neil Sean in the very heart of London.